Good morning, Paul DeMerico, Operations Section Chief for Rocky Mountain Team 1. Today is the morning update and today's plan for October 18th. Starting on the west and north side of the fire, containment lines continue to hold, and we expect those to continue to hold. No movement, no imminent threats. Highway 14, we continued to mitigate hazards in there. We're feeling really good about where we're at with that. Moving down to the southeastern portion of the fire, we did have critical fire weather yesterday and a lot more activity in that area. Looking at the Buckhorn 44H road, this continues to be one of our focus points of keeping the fire from going any further north than where it currently stands. The reason being, we put a lot of effort and we put a lot of control features into this area here, and there's a lot of values at risk up to the north. A lot of these communities that we initially spent a lot of time and effort and energy with our firefighters into those areas. And so we want to make sure this doesn't move any further north to threaten those values. We feel like with today's weather, it's very conducive to suppression action, that we'll be able to really have a solid containment line in there today after the end of shift. So we've got a lot of focus in here. Going down to County Road 27, our objective initially was to keep the fire west of that. We did have a spot fire out in this area that became very active yesterday in those fine fuels. We had a lot of control issues in those fine fuels, like the grass fields with the wind behind it. Fire becomes almost impossible to suppress, even with aircraft. And due to the wind yesterday and the critical fire weather, we were unable to fly for most of the day. What we did is we focused we had to move a lot of our resources around to try to protect structures yesterday and to also suppress that spot fire. We worked through the night on that. We held the spot fire west of the 25 Echo Road. We got around about 3/4 of it with direct handline and heavy equipment utilizing dozers to get around that spot. There's an area right in here we weren't able to get to last night. We couldn't see it. It was steep, rugged terrain with thick fuels. Today we're focusing a lot of our efforts in this area. It's very vital for us to be able to put this spot fire in check and have that contained hopefully by the end of shift is our goal. And it is a priority for the fire, because that ends up really putting us behind the curve a little bit as far as focusing our efforts into these areas. So continuing on to the south, in the communities of Storm King, Cedar Park, Glen Haven, and the Retreat, a lot of good suppression actions were taken yesterday and through the night and they are going to continue today. We had some more state EOC surge engines show up yesterday. What that is that the state of Colorado, we asked for an emergency 72-hour support with miscellaneous engines such as Type 1 structure engines, Type 3, and Type 6 engines. The Type 6 engines are like wildland engines that are very mobile, that have four-wheel drive, and the structure engines are like the big ladder trucks a lot of times you see in the city. And these folks were inserted into Buckskin Heights area and also into the communities of the Retreat, Glen Haven, Cedar Park, and Storm Mountain. Our folks yesterday were able to do a lot of good assessment and protection in here by ring firing structures and properties. And we were largely successful yesterday, and we're going to continue that day with the favorable weather that we currently have. Moving over into Division Uniform into the park area, no movement at all. A little bit of heat interior. Again, we're not inserting folks into some of these areas due to the steep, rugged terrain. A lot of it, we call it risk versus gain. Not a lot we could do in there. Heavy equipment would not be able to be utilized, and ground forces wouldn't do a heck of a lot of good in some of that country. So we're not, currently we don't have any resources in here, but we are monitoring that. And we don't anticipate any movement in the coming days. Thank you.